Hello, Keith Walker speaking. This is the video B, additional readings for those students who wish to dig a little deeper into it. Obviously, you're going to read the full chapters 8 and chapters 9 of the management textbook. Chapter 8 in particular helps you with some planning tools. These are most important because sometimes when you're grappling with a problem, you're just not sure where to start. With having a planning tool that can help you out or give you a starting point, at least you then have some chance of finding a solution. You'll see in your textbook on page 213, you'll see a figure 828, a sample of a hierarchy, and you'll see there on the diagram from your textbook, you can see the different layers of management in a hierarchical organisation, which is one example that we've used here, or is used here in this book. And you can see how the plan varies as you go down the hierarchy. So you have the senior management, if you will, setting the overall mission, task and that sort of thing, top management, senior management, middle management and line management. And you can see identified against each of those a different part of the plan. Now you've got to bear in mind this is probably taking a business, it's probably not construction, but probably more production line business, car manufacturing or something like that. But it still gives you the same idea, because at some stage you've got to develop a plan as a senior manager, and that's great, but you've got to communicate it to your staff, because otherwise it's just a totally meaningless document. If you can't get your staff on board with you, and they don't appreciate what you're trying to do, make this the most profitable company in Victoria or XYZ, whatever you decided your company plan will be, then it gets a very, very difficult task, particularly in the real world. You're lucky here inside Arousal you've got little computer figures. They'll be very compliant, trust me. But in the real world, it's a much more complex process when you're trying to deal with individuals and trying to get them on board with a plan and things like that. The idea of the management too is that it gives you, this management book gives you some tools for bringing people on board. You show an interest in them. The Hawthorne studies refer to that. Just by showing an interest in people, what would you like to do in this company? What's your plans? What would you like to see the company do? Questions like that, and then trying to incorporate those into, will more likely give people a chance to embrace your plan, accept it, own it, and hopefully make it more successful for you. In other words, you have a profitable company. Participation is absolutely important. You can't, the perfect plan by a leader that doesn't communicate it to anybody is a failed plan, because it hasn't gone out to the masses. If you're just in your business for yourself and all you have to do is talk to yourself, well, that's real easy, but not too many businesses like that. You're going to have staff and you're going to have to communicate to them, and you'll possibly have hierarchy up above you that you have to communicate to. So having that plan and able to communicate it, able to take people with you on that journey is very important. Chapter 9 deals with the strategies of management. Again, most of that ends up in the core, but there are things that are additional to that. One of the things that turns out to be additional is in the figure 9.7, the product life cycle. Now, that's probably not quite so much in the construction industry, because suddenly there's some radical change. People are going to need to buy and build things. We're going to need homes. We're going to need institutional buildings. We're going to need construction businesses for offices, etc., etc. We're going to need highways, canals, dams. There's a zillion things that just have to be built as part of the infrastructure of a modern society. But the cycle's still not unimportant, because you need to know that your business is going to survive through the cycle. You do that by planning ahead for your work, your additional work that you might be taking on. Because you're project orientated in the construction industry, you need, they call them pipeline of construction activity. That's going to be essential, because you don't want everything finishing on the Wednesday and then Thursday morning you've got nothing to go on with. That's a gigantic gap in your business. So planning through that, while this textbook might refer more to the product life cycle of a product, you still have to think of it in terms of life cycle for your construction project. So you've got the ramp up phase, you've got the construction phase, you've got the handover, the warranty period, etc. And then at the end of it, hopefully you've collected all the money and you've made a profit, your company's made a profit, things like that. So again, just for the interest of more general ones, this is interesting. I'm busy tapping here the figure, you can't see me doing, but I am tapping the life cycle figure, because you've heard of disruptors and technology disruptors. I mean, the whole business landscape for some businesses Uber's one example. All these companies that deliver food now, and Amazon coming to Australia and doing everything online. All that. These are business disruptors. Again, you don't tend to get them in the construction industry. You've got your own set of problems to deal with, but it's an important part of the business cycle and what happens. So I hope you find those additional readings interesting. You will see in there I've put up an extra article from the real estate section to do with the apartment market in Brisbane. Almost half the apartments approved for development in Brisbane are not expected to be built. I've just put that up there. I've clipped it out of the paper because it's public information, so you can use it and discuss it, just to show you the context of what would happen if you were in that market, if you happen to be based in Brisbane at the moment. That article, the oversupply of apartments, and if it exists, etc., would be something you'd need to factor in. Again, coming back to the environment your construction company's in, the business environment you're in. Now, you're a little bit lucky in the arousal simulation because we give you a whole lot of statistics, which are a bit mind-boggling to start with, but we've sort of identified it and give it a statistical thing. If you were in construction in Brisbane, you read that article, you'd have to work out for yourself what that meant to your own construction company. And that's what you're going to need to be. As senior managers, upper, middle management, senior managers, construction companies in the future, it'll be your role to plot and plan and etc., the success of the company in the out years and out months as you go through, as projects wind down, as projects wind up, etc. A complex job, a difficult job, challenging, but hopefully after finishing this degree you're well trained to meet these challenges. So thank you for listening to me. Catch you later. See you next week. Bye.